Hello students, I am Abdul Shamim, Assistant Professor of English at Renuka College, Nagpur. Today we are going to discuss about the lesson which has been prescribed in the syllabus of BA second year, English Literature in the third sem. That is My Fortune, written by J.B. Priestley. In this lesson, the writer tells us about a very interesting incident which he has experienced while he visited the palmist that we are going to discuss in this lesson. My fortune. Now we'll come to the text. I saw the sign up a side street. Madam Dash, palmist. I decided at once to have my character, my destiny unveiled. The way led up a narrow flight of stairs shared by a number of people such as Poppleworth and Sons, surveyors, and J.B. Burton, and and corporation inquiry agents. At first, I could not find Madam Dash. There was no door bearing her name. I went up 3 flights of stairs that were narrower and dustier at every turn. I found and refound Poppleworth and Street and looked up at the windows. One of them was draped in lace curtains. There I told myself, and J.B. Burton could not have done better than this. Madam Dash. I climbed the stairs again, discovered the door that seemed to be the nearest of the lace curtains, knocked and was asked to enter. Here, the writer tells us that one day he was wandering around the street. Suddenly he came across a signboard of Madam Dash, who was a palmist, a fortune teller. The writer decided at once that he was going to show his palm to the palmist in order to know about his character, his destiny. So he took the stairs, but he saw a, num- a number of signboards, such as Poppleworth and Sons surveyors and J.B. Burton, and other inquiry agents. But he could not find the signboard of Madame Dash. So he took a narrow and dustier stairs, but still he could not get it. So he decided that he was going to get down and again would see the signboard of Madame Dash, the palmist. He saw a decorative curtains. At once he recognized that it must be very close, that it must be in the window of the palmist, Madame Dash. So the writer again took the stairs and found and knocked at the door, and he was asked to come in. अब आज जो लेसन हम पढ़ने वाले हैं उसका नाम है माय फॉर्च्यून, जिसे लिखा है जेबी प्रिस्टली ने। जेबी प्रिस्टली इस लेसन में बड़े मजेदार वाक्य बताते हैं। एक बार वो रास्ते से गुजर रहे थे, अचानक उन्होंने बड़े ही एक पामिस्ट का बोर्ड दिखा, उसका नाम था मादम डैश। उन्होंने सोच लिया कि मैं अपना हाथ उन्हें दिखाऊंगा। जब वो उस बिल्डिंग में चढ़े तो बिल्डिंग में देखते हैं वो सारे के सारे लोग जिसके साइन बोर्ड नीचे से देख रहे थे वो उन्हें आसानी से मिल गए, लेकिन मादम डैश का कहीं भी साइन बोर्ड नजर नहीं आया। फिर वापस वो नीचे आते हैं और फिर से देखते हैं, उन्हें खूबसूरत पर्दा नजर आता है। वो सोच लेते हैं कि ये पर्दा जो हो सकता है, ये पर्दा यकीनन मादम डैश के विंडो पे ही लगा होगा। फिर ऊपर जाते हैं और वो पर्दे की निशानी लेके उस दरवाजे पे दस्तक देते हैं। अंदर से आवाज आती है कि अंदर आ जाओ। The room was very dim because the end nearest the window had been partitioned off. A head appeared round the curtain of the partition and said, "D, you want a reading? Just wait a moment, please." So I sat down in the remains of a leather armchair and waited in the dim room, which was very stuffy and reeked of cheap incense. When the writer entered that room, he found that it was quite dark room because the light was restricted of the partition which was very close to the window. Now a voice was heard behind the curtain and was told to him to wait for a moment. The writer sat at the leather armchair and waited in that room that was quite congested and stuffy, and he smelled a cheap smell of some incense. राइटर जब उस कमरे में बैठ गया, कमरा काफी अंधेरे वाला था क्योंकि खिड़की के पास से पार्टीशन कर दिया गया था। फिर उस पार्टीशन से कोई निकलता है और उसे कहता है कि 2 मिनट के लिए 1 मिनट के लिए आप इंतजार करो। राइटर आर्मचेयर पे बैठ जाता है और उस कमरे के इर्द गिर्द देखता है। वो कमरा काफी कंजस्टेड होता है, भरा होता है, स्टफी होता है और चीप इंसेंस की कोई खुशबू जो होती है वो चीप खुशबू उस कमरे में महकते रहती है। I examined its 4 vases of artificial flowers and its 2 prints, the Star of Bethlehem and Westward Bound, with the compliments of the Canadian shipping line. I sat there not 1 minute but 10, which time there was continual whispering behind the partition. The writer also saw that there were 4 vases, and in which there were artificial flowers. He examined it very closely and found that it was quite similar to the Canadian shipping line. The writer also regretted that he was asked to wait for a moment, but he could not wait for a moment but waited for 10 minutes. राइटर कहता है कि जैसे मुझसे कहा गया था आप बैठ जाओ और 1 मिनट के लिए इंतजार करो। राइटर बैठ जाता है और बैठने के बाद आसपास की चीजों को देखता है। आसपास की चीजें देखता है तो उसे 4 वाजेस नजर आते हैं, उसके अंदर आर्टिफिशियल फ्लावर्स होते हैं। उसका नजारा देख के ऐसा लगता है कैनेडियन शिपिंग लाइन का जैसा नजारा होता है वैसे उस कमरे का नजारा होता है। अंदर से आवाज आती है, लेकिन सोचता है राइटर मुझे तो 1 मिनट रुकने के लिए कहा गया था, पूरे अभी 10 मिनट हो चुके हैं। Then at last, 2 subdued-looking middle-aged women, who I will swear kept little sweets and tobacco shops and had husbands who disappeared 10 years ago, crept round the curtains and was invited to take their place near the window. I was invited to take their place near the window with Madam. After some time, the writer found that 2 middle-aged women came out of the partition, and he at once recognized them, that they were those 2 women whom he knew, that they ran the shop of sweets and tobacco, and they had been left by their husband for 10 years ago. And the writer was invited to come in. राइटर देखता है तुरंत वहां से 2 मिडिल एज वीमेन बाहर निकलती है। राइटर उन्हें पहचान लेता है कि ये वो दो ही और दो ही यही वही यकीनन वही 2 औरतें हैं जो जिसे वो अच्छी तरीके से जानता है, जो मिठाई और तंबाकू की दुकान चलाती है, जो उनके हस्बैंड ने उन्हें छोड़े 10 साल हो चुके हैं। राइटर को बुलाया जाता है, राइटर अंदर जाता है और मादम डैश के करीब बैठ जाता है। There was nothing of the alluring or sinister Sibyl about Madame, who was short, plump, middle-aged, with a round red face and eyeglasses duly supported by a very snub little nose. She was wearing a black dress and a rather dirty grey woolen jersey without sleeves and looked like the owner of a cheap seaside boarding house who occasionally attended the meeting of the local Theosophical Society in winter. When the writer looked at Madame Dash, the palmist, the writer found that the writer found that she was quite short, plump, middle-aged woman with red face and wore a pair of glasses over a little snub nose, and she put on a black dress and a dirty woolen jersey without sleeve, and she appeared like the owner of the cheap seaside boarding house who occasionally met the people of the Theosophical Society. राइटर जब अंदर जाता है और उसे देखता है तो मादम दाश के बारे में बताता है। वो दिखने में मिडिल एज वुमेन थी, छोटे कद की, थोड़ी मोटी, लाल चेहरा, राउंड फेस और चश्मा पहनी थी, छोटी सी नोज के ऊपर आके जो ठहर गया था। उसने काले कपड़े पहनी थी और एक जर्सी पहनी थी और स्लीवलेस जर्सी थी, और ऐसा लगने लगी जैसे कि वो चीप सी साइड बोर्डिंग हाउस के ओनर होते हैं उसी की मालकिन जैसी नजर आने लगी, जो बहुत ही कम लोगों से मिलने की कोशिश करते हैं। शी हैड She had, however, a pleasant open face, and out of hours with another sympathetic middle-aged woman and a cup of tea or a bottle of stout by her side, no doubt she would prove to be a very genial companion. But with her appearance, the writer drew the conclusion that she was quite friendly, and her company must have been enjoyed by other women of her age. And the proof was that beside her there were there were a cup of tea and a bottle of and a strong bottle by her side. That was the indication that her company must have been enjoyed by another middle-aged women. राइटर उसके आसपास देखता है तो नजर आता है कप ऑफ टी और बॉटल, जिससे समझ में आ जाता है कि बड़े ही फ्रेंडली नेचर की है वो, और उसकी कंपनी यकीनन बहुत ही सिंपैथेटिक है। उसकी कंपनी दूसरी औरतें भी काफी इंजॉय करती होंगी, कि इस बात की निशानी थी। She faced me across a table, gave me a crystal, told me to cover it with my hands and think about those affairs which that I wished her to discuss. Then she looked at my left hand. Well, of course, she began. It was just as if we had been talking for hours. Her voice had plunged straight into an easy, intimate tone. A very clever opening, I thought it. She sat across the table and she asked the writer to hold a crystal in his hands. He held though he held that crystal very firmly in his hands. Then she gazed at the left hand of the writer and instructed that he would think only about those matters which he would like to discuss with her. And her voice was quite soothing, and she spoke in a very friendly manner. It appeared that they knew each other for a long time. अब राइटर को वो अपने सामने टेबल बिठा देती है और क्रिस्टल देती है और उसे कहती है अपने हाथों में इसको दबा लो। फिर वो कहती है कि अपने राइटर के लेफ्ट हैंड को देखते हुए कहती है, अब यहाँ पर अब लेफ्ट हैंड में इसको दबा के उस चीज के बारे में सोचो जो चीज तुम मेरे से डिस्कस करना चाहते हो। और राइटर को उसकी आवाज बड़ी मधुर लगती है। ऐसा लगता है जिस अंदाज में बात कर रही थी कि वो कई सालों से राइटर को जानती है। राइटर को बड़ा अच्छा लगा उसका बात शुरू करने का तरीका। वेल ऑफ कोर्स, वेल यस ऑफ कोर्स, शी सेड, यू हैव ऑलवेज बीन sensitive and reserved, and so of course you have been misunderstood. You have really an affectionate nature, but people don't think so. That is how it is with you. And you have lost by the. Then she started telling the fortune of the writer. First, she started about the nature of the writer, that he was very sensitive and reserved by nature, and he was always misunderstood by his friend because of his affectionate nature. अब वो राइटर के भविष्य के बारे में बताना शुरू करती है। कहती है राइटर का स्वभाव जो है बड़ा ही संवेदनशील और कम बात करने वाला मिजाज है। इसी कारण राइटर को कई बार लोगों को राइटर के स्वभाव के कारण बहुत ही मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग होती है। राइटर बड़े ही स्नेह भाव स्वभाव का है, बड़ा ही स्नेह उसके स्वभाव में काफी स्नेह है, जिसके कारण लोग उसको समझ नहीं पाते हैं। You are one, as you can see through people. You know what is at the back of their minds when they are talking to you. Know if they are lying, if they are guilty or not. But being so reserved, it is good. You, but being so reserved, it is got you misunderstood. A good deal it has, and then you have lost your faith. You follow me down chair. Then she further adds that the writer could see what was at the back of the mind of that person who was talking to him, whether he wanted to cheat him or he was guilty of something or an innocent person. But the writer was always misunderstood because of his reserved nature, and that is why people lost their faith on him because of his reserved nature. उसके बाद वो राइटर से कहती है कि जो इंसान तुमसे बात करता है, तुम्हारे सामने खड़ा होता है और तुमसे बातचीत करता है, उस इंसान के दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है तुम समझ लेते हो। तुम समझ जाते हो इंसान सच कह रहा है या झूठ कह रहा है, वो निर्दोष है या कसूरवार है। और तुम्हारे रिजर्व नेचर के कारण काफ़ी मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग होती है, जिससे लोग लोगों का तुम पे से भरोसा उठ जाता है। दरअसल ये रिजर्व नेचर के कारण होता है। This extended afterwards too. You follow me now down chair was her favorite phrase, and sometimes she puts it in sadly, sometimes in it came out briskly, sometimes it arrived with a triumphant ring. What she would do without it, I cannot imagine, for it served all manners of purpose. It kept me nodding like a mandarin. So far, I agreed with everything she said. Her view of my character was singularly like my own, and she she kept on repeating the same phrase. You follow me down chair. She follow me down chair. It appeared to the writer that it was her favorite punchline, and she uttered it slowly, briskly, in a tone of victory. And the writer thought that what she could do without that phrase, because she used that phrase in each and every manner, in sad as well as in mode of happiness. And whatever she said, the writer was helpless, he just nodded. उसके बाद उसकी पसंदीदा फ्रेज थी जो हमेशा कहती, वो बार बार कहती, यू फॉलो मी डाउन चेयर, यू फॉलो मी डाउन चेयर। कभी खुशी से कहती, कभी दुख से कहती, कभी धीरे कहती, कभी जल्दी कहती। और राइटर बड़ा लाचार था, लाकर राइटर को समझ में नहीं आ रहा था क्या करना, बस राइटर अपनी सर हिलाता, हाँ हाँ हाँ। It was now the turn of my right hand. Yes, she said, you have had to work hard, but up to now you haven't had all you have been entitled to have from your work. Other people been getting the benefit. You follow me down chair. People have picked up People have picked your brains before today. Now she read the left hand of the writer. Now she started about the right hand of the writer. And she saw the right hand of the writer and started telling that the writer had worked very hard, but still he could not get the fruition of his hard work. Other people were getting the benefit of his hard work. His brain, his, his ideas were used by some other. Whatever he did not get the result of his hard work. उसके बाद वो राइटर के सीधे हाथ को देखती और बताना शुरू करती है कि तुमने काफी मेहनत की, लेकिन तुम्हें तुम्हारे मेहनत का फल नहीं मिला। जो तुम्हारा होना था वो तुम्हारा नहीं हुआ। दूसरे लोग तुम्हारी मेहनत का फल का फायदा उठा रहे हैं। वो तुम्हारी आइडिया का इस्तेमाल करते हैं और फायदा उठाते हैं, और तुम्हें उसका फायदा नहीं मिल पाता है। प्रोफेशनल आरंट यू? इट इज रिटन हियर इन योर हैंड दैट यू आर प्रोफेशनल. You will do better this year than you have ever done before. The months of May and June be good for you, especially good. You will arrive at a position of great responsibility. You will before long. Up to now, though you might have done fairly well, you really haven't had your chance. You follow me down chair. Then she also added that it appeared to her that the writer was a professional, and the month of May and June would be quite good for him. they were going to bring responsibilities on him, which he had never done before in his life. And she kept on repeating her favorite phrase, "You follow me down chair, you follow me down chair." उसके बाद राइटर को कहती है, ऐसा लगता है तुम्हें देख के तुम प्रोफेशनल हो, और मई और जून का महीना तुम्हारे लिए बहुत ही फायदेमंद रहेगा। वो तुम्हारे लिए बहुत सारी जिम्मेदारी लेके आएगा, वो जिम्मेदारी लेके आएगा जो जिम्मेदारी तुमने अभी तक नहीं निभाई होंगी। और फिर कहने लगी अपनी फेवरेट फ्रेज, यू फॉलो मी डाउन चेयर, यू फॉलो मी डाउन चेयर। Yes, I was following her. All these were emphatically my sentiments. At the moment, I could not think of the names of the rascals who had been picking my brains and stealing the fruit of my endeavor, but I had no doubt at all that they existed. The writer quite well understood the words of the palmist, Madam Dash. He got very emotional. He was recalling the name of those people who have robbed him from his hard work. He knew that those people existed, but he could not exactly point out those people who had deprived him from the fruit of his hard work. राइटर कहता है, मैं उसकी बातों को अच्छी तरीके से समझ रहा था और मैं काफी भावुक हो गया, और भावुक होने के बाद मैं उन लोगों का नाम याद करने लगा, कौन लोग हैं जो मुझे मेरी मेहनत के फल से मुझे महरूम रखते हैं, मुझे वंचित रखते हैं। मेहनत मैं करता हूँ और फल कोई और खाता है। राइटर सोचने लगा, ऐसे लोग तो है, लेकिन कौन है वो? एंड अनदर थिंग, Madam pursued, anybody looking at you would think you were a gentleman who had the best of health, but you haven't. You know, really, you have not been as well as you might have been since last November. Nothing like so well as you look. You see what I mean. She further added that while looking at the writer, people would think that he was quite fit and fine. But that is not the reality. He is not as fit and fine as he had been till the month of November. After November, he started facing the problem, which other which other people would not agree at all. उसके बाद वो कहने लगी, तुम्हें देख के कोई भी कहेगा, देख के तुम्हारी हालत देख के किसी भी लगेगा तुम काफी सेहतमंद हो, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। तुम उतने उतने फिट नहीं हो, उतने सेहतमंद नहीं हो जितने कि तुम नवंबर तक थे। लेकिन इस बात पर कोई यकीन नहीं करेगा तुम्हारी। I agreed with enthusiasm. It is perfectly true that I am hardly ever as well as I look. And I have the misfortune to be surrounded by people, relatives, friends, and even doctors who simply cannot understand this, who do not realize what I suffer in my quietude. The writer at once agreed with the view of Madame Dash that the writer was not as he appeared. He was he was surrounded by people who were not going to believe that he was he was not so peaceful from his mental status as he appeared from his physical health. From his outer appearance, he appeared to be quite fit and fine, but he did not get his inner peace of mind. राइटर उस बात से पूरे तरीके से अग्री था मादम दास से। वो दिखने में बाहर से कोई भी देख के कहेगा कि काफी फिट एंड फाइन इंसान है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं था। राइटर अंदर से परेशान था। ये बात कोई उसका दोस्त हो, उसका रिश्तेदार हो, या था कि डॉक्टर भी बात समझ नहीं पाते थे, लेकिन ये बात पामिस्ट समझ गई। राइटर इस बात से पूरी तरीके से उससे सहमत था। She had finished with my hands now and began gazing into the crystal I had been holding. I see a H, she announced impressively. A H, I cried, startled. Yes, the letter H, she said. Do you know anybody whose name begins with a H? But this did not take us. far because I know so many people whose name begins with that letter. She mentioned several other initial letters too, but this was easily the last valuable part of the scene. I refused to take an interest in these vague alphabetical creatures. Then again she looked at the hands of the writer and started uttering that whether he knew anybody whose name started with N. The writer started thinking about, but he could not find because there were so many people whose name started with initial N. He did not like that alphabetical game. अब राइटर वो कहने लगी क्या तुम किसी इंसान को जानते हो जिसका नाम एन से शुरू होता है। राइटर कहने लगा मैं ऐसे तो बहुत सारे लोग थे जिनका नाम एन से शुरू होता था, लेकिन ये बातें मुझे काफी समझ में नहीं आई। I see money coming to you from two directions, she said, peering in the crystal. It is in here different directions. Can you understand what that means? It is money coming to you soon. I am accustomed to seeing money depart in all directions, but the thought of it coming two shining streams converging upon me was new and distinctly pleasant. I did not understand what it meant, or if I did, I do not see why I should tell everybody. But for a moment, I enjoyed the thrill of one about to be rich. Then she started she started telling the writer that in the crystal she saw that money was coming on its way and it was going to come from two different directions. The writer became very happy when he heard the name of money because all his life he saw money fled away from him. This was the first time when he was informed that money was coming from two different directions in his way. So he really enjoyed. He thought that he was going to become a happy and rich person because of money. अब राइटर कहती है क्रिस्टल में देखते हुए कि वो देख रही है कि दो दिशाओं से पैसे उसके करीब आ रहे हैं। राइटर को पैसे की बात सुनकर बड़ी खुशी महसूस हुई कि हाँ पैसे आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि अब तक राइटर ने सिर्फ पैसे जाते हुए देखा था, पहली बार था तो वो देख रहा था कि पैसे उसके पास आ रहे हैं। ये बात सुन के बहुत ही अच्छा लगता है, खुशी महसूस होती है राइटर को, लगता है कि अब काफी मैं खुशहाल और अमीर हो जाऊंगा। I see a tall gentleman, very straight he is. He stands up in here, oldish gentleman, and he means well to you. You can trust him. And there is a younger gentleman, dark, with a thin face, and he is to be trusted too. And these two will bring you in a lot of money. And you are doing a lot of singing. A lot of singing. You follow me down here. Then she informed the writer that there were two people whom he can trust. One was a tall, older gentleman, and the another one was thin face, dark, younger gentleman. They were going to bring a lot of money for him, and he was going to enjoy. उसके बाद वो कहने लगी, तुम दो इंसानों पर भरोसा कर सकते हो, एक वो लंबा टॉल ओल्डिश जेंटलमैन, उस पर तुम यकीन कर सकते हो। दूसरा यंग जेंटलमैन जो डार्क है, कॉम्प्लेक्शन थिन फेस है, उस पर भी तुम भरोसा कर सकते हो। ये दोनों लोग तुम्हारे लिए काफी फायदेमंद साबित होंगे, ये तुम्हारे लिए पैसा लेके आएंगे। Well, I said hesitantly, as a matter of fact, I always have a good deal of singing to do. But we don't see here anything you do in the ordinary way of things, she said. This is special singing, something that will please you. She started again in silence for a few moments. You are in a city with narrow streets and very tall buildings. You've had to go there on business, and it is very lucky for you. Very narrow streets, very tall buildings. Liverpool or Manchester, perhaps. Then she added that he was going to get an opportunity for singing. So the writer retorted that he did sing. She added that it was a different kind of singing. Then she said, silent for a moment, then started uttering. that he would find his fortune among the tall buildings through the narrow streets. That city would be quite fortunate for him. That might be like लिवरपूल और मैनचेस्टर. फिर वो कहने लगी राइटर को कि तुम्हें सिंगिंग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिल सकता है. राइटर कहता हाँ ऐसे तो मैंने कई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया भी हूँ. राइटर कहता है कि वो कुछ राइटर से कहती है कुछ स्पेशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होंगे सिंगिंग के लिए. राइटर ऐसा कहता है मैं तो सिंगिंग तो करते ही रहता हूँ. फिर थोड़ी देर के लिए खामोश बैठ जाती है. फिर कहती है कि मैं एक सिटी के बारे में सोच रही हूँ. वो सिटी तुम्हारे लिए बहुत ही फायदेमंद साबित होंगी. थोड़ी तंग गलियां है वो सिटी की, बड़ी बड़ी वहां पे इमारतें हैं. वो तुम्हारे लिए बहुत बड़े कारोबार लेके आएंगी वो सिटी. और वो सिटी हो सकती है लिवरपूल या मैनचेस्टर. I hope not, I murmured. It is one thing to be told you are to be lucky in some strange city. It is quite another thing to be told you will be in Liverpool or Manchester. I felt disappointed, blunt, but clung to the hope that topography was not her strong point. The writer guessed whether it will be Liverpool or Manchester, but she declined. She could not exactly point out which city was going to bring a fortune for the writer. The writer remarked that topography was not her strong point. अब वो राइटर सोचता है कि मैनचेस्टर हो सकता है, लिवरपूल. वो कहती नहीं, कोई स्ट्रेन सिटी होंगी. राइटर व्याख आता है, कहता है कि टोपोग्राफी जो लोकेशन बताना ये उसका स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट नहीं था. Her next remark was rather reassuring. The street may not be so narrow, she observed, because it may only the buildings that are so high. Anyhow, I see you there, and it will be lucky for you. Which left me with a conviction that the city was New York, that I was to be there signing contracts for plays, films, serials, serial stories, short stories, $500 article on the American woman as I see her with men straight as ramrods standing by, looking after my interest. Then she made the point that the streets may not be so narrow, but there were so many tall buildings. That city was going to bring fortune for him. The writer at once thought whether when it was not Liverpool, Manchester, so it must be New York. Obviously, it must be New York. And very soon, he thought that he was going to get the contract for plays, films, short stories, or some serial, or $500 in order to write the article on the American woman. जब वो कहने लगी कि वो जो सिटी है वहाँ तंग रास्ते नहीं है, वो ऐसी सिटी है जहाँ बड़ी बड़ी इमारतें. राइटर समझ गया, हाँ हो सकता है ये न्यूयॉर्क की सिटी होंगी जहाँ मुझे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिलेगा कोई प्ले लिखने का या पिक्चर की स्क्रिप्ट लिखने का, या मेरी शॉर्ट स्टोरीज कोई सीरियल बनेगा, या शॉर्ट स्टोरीज छपेंगी, या कुछ डॉलर मिलेंगे मुझे अमेरिकन वुमेन में आर्टिकल लिखने का. राइटर काफी सर्टेन हो गया. नाउ you can ask me anything, like she said, but really, by this time, I felt there was little to ask. After a minute or two, during which she told me again that I was reserved, sensitive, affectionate, misunderstood, witty, and keen brained. Unlucky so far, but about to be very successful. And that all I wanted was a little faith. I did put a question, but it was only to ask her what I owed her. It is half a crown, that is, if you are satisfied. She replied. After a moment, she asked the writer whether he wanted to ask anything from her. If he wanted, he could. And again, she started repeating that by nature, the writer was quite reserved, emotional, sensitive, affectionate, and he was always understood. The fruition of his hard work, his ideas, his ideas were always stolen, and he was robbed from his hard work. Till now, he could have become successful, but he couldn't. And he lost more. People always broke his faith. उसके बाद वो कहती है राइटर से, अगर आप अभी भी कुछ जानना चाहते हो तो पूछ सकते हो। फिर से वो दोहराने लगी हुई बात कि तुम्हारा नेचर जो है, कम बात करने वाले हो, तुम काफी संवेदनशील हो, तुम बहुत ही स्नेह भाव वाले हो, हर बार तुम्हें गलत समझते हो, तुम्हारी मेहनत का फल कोई दूसरा उठा ले जाता है, अब तक तुम कामयाब हो जाना था लेकिन तुम कामयाब नहीं हुए, और हर बार तुम्हारा भरोसा तोड़ा जाता है। Then she further added whether he wanted to ask anything. The writer only wanted to ask how much should have to pay her. She replied, half a crown if he was satisfied. अब फिर वो राइटर से कहती है कि और कुछ पूछना चाहते हो तो पूछ सकते हो। राइटर से इससे इतना ही पूछता है कि मुझे आपको कितने पैसे देना है। तो कहती हाफ अ क्राउन, अगर तुम मेरी बात से संतुष्ट हुए होंगे तो। Satisfied, I should think I was, without knowing my age or profession, anything or of my personal history. She had yet contrived to tell me all the things that I want to be told, the things I have always secretly believed to be true of myself, and that nobody but me, and thus kindly oracle, she ever seemed to understand. The station was worth 100 half crowns. It was a daydream of oneself suddenly conjured into an oracular utterance. It was a visit to a magic mirror. As far as satisfaction of the writer was concerned, the writer was highly satisfied because he knew that without knowing anything about the writer, she told him about his profession. Without knowing about his personal history, she told so many things which were quite true. So the writer thought that the session of her worth more than 100 half crowns, and it was just like a day dreaming, and it she uttered like an oracle, and the writer saw his fortune in a magic mirror. It was a kind of feeling that the writer saw his own future in a magic mirror. राइटर कहता है संतुष्ट, मैं तो बहुत ज्यादा संतुष्ट हुआ, बगैर मेरी एज जाने, बगैर मेरा व्यवसाय जाने, बगैर मेरी हिस्ट्री जाने, उसने बहुत सारी चीजें मेरे बारे में बताई। वो चीजें मेरे बारे में बताई जो मैं सुनना चाहता था, जो मैं जानता था, बाकी कोई और नहीं जानता था। वो एक वाइस पर्सन, ओरेकल मीन्स अ वाइस पर्सन हु टेल्स अबाउट द फ्यूचर, व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन इन द फ्यूचर। उसने वो चीज बताई, तो उसका सेशन हाफ क्राउन नहीं बल्कि 100 क्राउन्स वर्थ था। ऐसा लग रहा था जैसे मैं दिन में सपने देख रहा हूँ, ऐसा लग रहा था जैसा कि मैं अपना भविष्य तो मैजिक मिरर में देख रहा हूँ। As I went out, I saw two people waiting their turn. I only had a glimpse of them, but it was enough to show me that they too would prove to be reserved, affectionate, sensitive, misunderstood, unfortunate, perhaps up to now, but about to rush into prosperity, immense good fortune. When the writer came out of the cabin of the palmist Madame Dash, he found that two persons were waiting for their turn, and he knew that they were also going to be told that they were quite reserved by nature, sensitive, emotional, affectionate, and they had always been misunderstood. They had been very unfortunate, but very soon fortune was going to smile on them. राइटर कहता है, जब मैं मादम डैश के कैबिन से बाहर निकला तो मैंने देखा दो लोग उसका अपनी अपनी टर्न का इंतजार कर रहे थे। मैं समझ गया फिर से इन्हें भी वही बात बताई जाएंगी, तुम बहुत ही कम बात करने वाले हो, संवेदनशील हो, बहुत ही भावुक हो, तुम्हें हमेशा लोगों ने गलत समझा है और अभी तक किस्मत तुम्हारी रंग नहीं लाई है, लेकिन बहुत जल्दी तुम्हारी किस्मत चमकने वाली है, तुम्हारे किस्मत के सितारे चमकने वाले हैं। I thought of them pleasantly as I passed the doors of Poppleworth and Sons surveyors and J.B. Burton and Corporation inquiry agents and descended into the world again. The writer thought about those thoughts which were told to him, the things which were told to him when he came down from the stairs of Poppleworth and Sons surveyors and J.B. Burton, and again he lost in the real world. Thank you so much. Still, if you have any doubts and difficulties, so you can contact me on my email ID, that is abdulshamin3 at the rate gmail.com. Thank you.